The bell above the diner door chimed with a weary creak, muffled by the sound of heavy rain battering the windows. He stepped inside slowly, drenched from head to toe, clothes clinging to his frail body. He looked like he hadn't eaten properly in days, his silver hair plastered to his forehead, shoes worn to the sole, eyes hollow with a quiet, haunting loneliness. The other customers glanced up, then quickly looked away. No one offered a smile. No one moved, all except her, Amelia, a young waitress with tired eyes and a tired heart, but one that still hadn't stopped believing in kindness. She saw him, really saw him. And when he fumbled in his pocket, ashamed he didn't have enough for even a cup of hot coffee, she simply smiled and whispered, "It's on me today." What she didn't know, what she couldn't have imagined, was that this wasn't just any old man. It was a test, a final, quiet test from a billionaire who had lost faith in humanity, until that moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel, Stories Collection, for more heartwarming true-to-life tales. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that matter. Amelia Rose had never expected much from life. At 26, she worked double shift 6 days a week at a small roadside diner just off Highway 57. Her dreams of finishing college had withered away when her mother got sick and her father left. Bills had mouths, and dreams didn't pay them. But Amelia carried her burdens quietly, her apron always tied tight, her hair always in a loose bun, her smile always real. She greeted every customer like they mattered, even if they treated her like she didn't. She had a heart trained to see pain in others, because she had carried so much of it herself. The town she lived in was small and forgettable. Dusty sidewalks, flickering neon signs, and stories etched into the cracked paint of abandoned buildings. Most people were either trying to escape or had given up trying. But not Amelia. Something in her refused to grow bitter. She found beauty in small things, the way sunlight hit the counter at noon, how the jukebox still worked if you hit it just right, how an old man's laugh could echo louder than pain. And so, on that rainy Wednesday afternoon, when the stranger entered, soaked, silent, sad, she didn't hesitate. She served him a steaming mug of coffee, added an extra splash of cream without asking, and placed a slice of apple pie beside it. "On the house," she said softly, even as her own wallet had barely enough for the bus ride home. The man looked up at her, startled. His eyes met hers, and for a brief moment, she saw a flicker of something familiar, loss, maybe, or longing. He tried to protest, but she just shook her head. "Everyone deserves warmth," she said, before walking away. What she didn't see was the tears welling in his eyes as he took his first sip. What she didn't know was that this man, Nathaniel Grayson, had once been the richest man in the state. Owner of tech companies, luxury estates, and more wealth than any one person could spend in 10 lifetimes. But wealth couldn't save his wife from cancer. It couldn't repair the silence left by his only son's betrayal. And it couldn't fill the empty mansion he returned to every night, where echoes of laughter used to live. So he had vanished from the public eye. Sold most of his companies. Let his beard grow, his clothes fade, and his identity disappear. He traveled from town to town, hoping to find something, someone, who reminded him that the world hadn't turned completely cold. Amelia did that, without even trying. He returned the next day, wearing the same old coat. She greeted him again, same smile, same warmth. This time, he had enough for a coffee, but she still brought him pie. "You look like you need it," she teased gently. He chuckled, and that laugh felt like a rusty door creaking open after years of silence. Over the next few weeks, he became a regular. The man with no name who always sat in booth 7. He asked about her life, and she told him bits and pieces. About her mom's hospital bills. About her little sister she was trying to support. About her dreams of opening her own cafe one day, one filled with music and books and kindness. "I know it's silly," she said once, "but I still believe good things can happen." Nathaniel listened. He didn't speak much of his own past, but he listened like her words were the most precious sound in the world. He admired her, not just her kindness, but her strength. How she stood up for the dishwasher boy when rude customers mocked him. How she used her tips to buy shoes for a homeless woman's daughter. How she lit up the room even when life tried to snuff her out. One evening, the diner was nearly empty. Rain tapped softly on the windows again, as if time had come full circle. Nathaniel placed a small envelope on the table. "Thank you," he said simply, "for seeing me." Then he walked out into the night. Inside the envelope was a letter and a business card with a name she didn't recognize, Grayson Holdings. The letter was short, written in neat cursive. "Amelia, you thought you were helping a lonely old man. But you were teaching a lost soul how to hope again. I'm not who I appeared to be. I am Nathaniel Grayson. I've spent the last few years searching, not for wealth or power, but for someone whose heart could change a room. You have that heart, and I want to help you change the world. Enclosed is a check to clear your debts, pay for your mother's treatment, and fund your dream cafe. There's no catch. Just kindness repaid. P.S. If your heart still has room for an old man who forgot how to live, I'll be waiting at 7 p.m. Friday. Under the oak tree behind the church. Either way, thank you for saving me." Amelia read the letter 5 times before she believed it was real. Her hands trembled as she opened the check, enough zeros to change everything. But it wasn't the money that made her cry. It was the idea that someone saw her. That kindness had truly come full circle. Friday arrived, and she stood under the oak tree just before 7. The evening sky blushed with soft pinks and golds. And then he appeared, clean-shaven, dressed in a simple navy suit, eyes nervous but warm. "You came," he said. "So did you," she whispered, smiling through tears. He offered her his hand, not with the confidence of a billionaire, but with the quiet hope of a man who'd been alone for too long. She took it. Months later, the cafe opened. Amelia's Hearth, a place where coffee came with free refills and kindness came without price. Nathaniel helped behind the scenes but insisted she take the spotlight. She became known in the town as the girl whose heart changed a billionaire. But to her, it was simpler than that. It was just love. Unexpected, undeserved, unstoppable love. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who believes in love and second chances, and subscribe to Stories Collection for more emotional journeys like this. Every view and every comment helps us keep sharing stories that matter. Special request. In the comments, tell us, have you ever received a kindness when you needed it most? Or have you ever been someone's miracle? We'd love to read your story. Of course, here's the extended continuation of the story to fit the full emotional arc suitable for a 6,000-word cinematic YouTube video. The pace remains steady, filled with deep emotion, vivid imagery, and heartfelt turns. The cafe quickly became more than just a business. It became a haven, the kind of place where people lingered a little longer, where laughter replaced silence, and where even the loneliest souls found warmth not just in the coffee but in Amelia's spirit. She trained her staff not just in serving but in seeing, to notice the woman crying quietly in the corner booth, or the teenage boy who came in just to escape his broken home. No one left Amelia's hearth without being touched by some small act of love. And Nathaniel. He stayed by her side, not as an investor or silent partner, but as a man rediscovering joy. He found purpose in simple things, fixing a wobbly table, learning how to steam milk just right, even sweeping floors at closing time just so he could hum old songs beside Amelia as she tallied receipts. For the first time since his wife passed, he laughed deeply and often. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something resembling peace. But not everyone understood. When news leaked, first in whispers, then in online headlines, about the reclusive billionaire who had fallen in love with a small-town waitress, some people judged. The media painted it like a fairy tale. Some accused Amelia of being a gold digger. Some questioned Nathaniel's sanity. Former business partners, lawyers, even estranged family members reappeared with skepticism and greed. Cameras showed up at the cafe, and Amelia was suddenly pushed into a spotlight she never asked for. The pressure became overwhelming. One evening, she stood in the storeroom of the cafe, tears rolling down her cheeks. She clutched a photo of her mother, now recovering well thanks to proper care, and whispered, "I didn't ask for any of this, I just wanted to help someone." Nathaniel found her there, wrapped her in his arms, and said, "And that's exactly why you were the one." He told her then the full story of how he had tested dozens of people, kind gestures offered and ignored in city after city. He had been looking for someone who loved without condition, who gave without expectation. He didn't need a wife who wore diamonds. He needed a partner with a soul that healed. And despite the noise, Amelia stayed true to herself. She refused to let bitterness in. She wrote a public letter that went viral. "I did not fall in love with a billionaire. I fell in love with a man who showed up when I gave away my last slice of pie. A man who smiled through sadness. Who listened. Who stayed." That letter touched hearts around the world. Soon, letters of support flooded the cafe, from single mothers, from janitors, from teachers, from elderly couples holding hands for 50 years. They all saw themselves in Amelia. They saw hope. Amelia and Nathaniel didn't let the criticism define them. Instead, they let their love speak louder. They hosted free meals once a week, built a fund for struggling single parents, sponsored scholarships for kids who, like Amelia, had to leave college too soon. They never boasted. They never showed off. They just kept giving. 2 years after that rainy day, under the same oak tree where it all began, Nathaniel got down on one knee. He didn't bring a diamond ring the size of a planet. He brought a tiny band carved from driftwood and gold, a symbol of something beautiful formed by time, tides, and tenderness. He simply said, "You saved me. May I spend the rest of my life giving that back to you." She said yes, not because of his name or his wealth, but because his heart had learned to love again. Their wedding was small, just close friends, Amelia's family, the diner crew, and a dozen people whose lives had changed because of their kindness. They exchanged vows beneath string lights and the smell of baked bread and fresh coffee. No limos, no press, just love. Years passed. The cafe became a landmark. People traveled from other states to see where the miracle began. But Amelia never changed. She still served tables sometimes, still wore her old apron, still smiled the same way she did that first rainy day. Nathaniel aged gracefully, his once heavy heart now full. He often sat by the window with a cup of coffee and a sketchpad, drawing ideas for ways they could help more people. And on the counter, next to the cash register, sat a framed photo of an older man dripping with rain, holding a warm cup of coffee, and the woman who gave it to him. A simple sign below it read, "You never know what one small kindness might lead to." If this story touched your soul, made you believe again in the beauty of unexpected love, or reminded you of the power of a small act of kindness, please, like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to Stories Collection for more heartfelt journeys. Every time you interact with our stories, you help us reach another heart. Special request: before you leave, we'd love to hear your story. Have you ever done something kind for a stranger, not knowing how much it meant? Or has someone changed your life with a small, selfless gesture? Please share in the comments. Your words might inspire someone more than you know.